Morning, Brandon Hardison. Glad to be with you. Hey, today we're going to continue on our series of helping out new people who are trying to get in front of the room. Maybe you spent some hard earned money attending some workshops live of how to be in front of the room, whether it's an audience, a educational situation at your business, trying to get that next advancement. So we want to look at some ways that you can be better because it's going to happen to you. It happens to everyone that has been in this business. If they say it's never happened to them, they are not telling you the whole truth. But we all go through some of these basic things. So let's get going. My thing is when you know that you're going to have a brain freeze, if you will, while you're doing your presentation, we need to work on some things where our nonverbal or our verbal communication, our body language, what comes out of our mouth, doesn't get us into trouble. Or how can we avoid these things altogether? So, the first tip I would like to give you is never lose your composure to start with. That comes with practice. That's why you show up early if you are using some type of technology, PowerPoint, make sure the deck is all ready and laid out in order. Make sure your notes are there. If you're going to use some type of podium or something, make sure everything is set up the way you want it and no one can go near it. Or you're using one of these devices because I can't be live in front of a room, but I'm going to be doing it through this technology. Well, make sure everything is there, but things do happen. So if your notes get all jumbled, if you lose them and they fall to the floor and you have to turn away and get back to them, don't get frustrated. Hold your composure. Take a deep breath, watch your body language, and get back to controlling the tempo because that's what the guests are looking at. Remember, in the audience, there's probably people who do speeches in front of their teams, groups, or maybe doing what you're doing, and they know it happens. But how do you recover? It's your confidence. So just make sure that you just don't lose it all right at the beginning. Next thing, always move forward. Don't try drawing attention to you about dwelling on that mistake. Mistakes happen. You don't have to say, oops, that was crazy. That was kid stuff. Just move forward. Don't dwell. How about continuing to be open, not hiding anything? In other words, I stumbled over a word. I misspelled a word and I was trying to relate it to the PowerPoint screen or to you. That's bad credibility by trying to hide it. Here's an example. I know you've probably heard or seen a college presentation on radio and the air personality or on TV, the anchor, the host of that person. How do you know that they made a mistake? They tell you, and they tell you, and you look and say, well, I already knew that. Now, here's where I'm going. From that college, now look at them working for a professional local station or a national, international position. You never knew when a person there made a mistake because they wouldn't dwell on it. Many times they just leave it alone and move forward, and you never know. But once again, it takes practice to get to that level. Always be open. Never hide anything. Your image would be fragile and it'll start to crumble to the person that's paying you for being there for that interview, for being there for that speech, for being there talking to the class. But by being open, you don't have to defend a mistake. Your credibility stays intact. Another thing to think about, live in the present. We don't have to keep dwelling on it. Some people dwell on the mistake again and again. I have a secret for you. Nothing in the past is going to change. So if it's not going to change, why focus on it as you continue to go through your speech? Stay in the present 100% of the time. You'll be all right. Last tip for this morning, use your speech as a way, a chance to communicate just the message. I'm not trying to excel, I'm not trying to knock it out the park, because if they can clearly pinpoint what your message is, and that should have been you researching when you talk to the person that's given you the opportunity to be in front of the group, whether it's live or on this technology that we have to use. But it's an opportunity for you to give that message that they want you to give to that audience. You don't have to worry about knocking it out the park. I want that repeat, that referral business. When you just do the best you can on that speech, the rest will come. They will see the value in you. So don't worry if you mess up. Watch your body language. Stay in control. Stay composed. Things do happen. Don't dwell on them. And make sure the audience hears that stated message that you're trying to defend. I will leave you with this. Many times, speakers, people in the front of the room, they want to say, show, do some things, do some songs, go up and down the stage, being very verbal and open. And many times, people lose the message with all of the antics. Here's what I know, and speakers out there know. I can talk about what they brought me here to talk about. The people in the audience feel while you were going through the presentation. So it's not really the words all the time. They're going to remember how you made them feel. And that's the most important thing that we have to do in front of a group. So, just some tips for today. Brandon Hardison, Champion Strategies, as always, imparting. You go out there and you make it a champion day.